I have this theory that the people who do the hat on in the weird direction and the right up there with the people who do the weird lip piercing, which is they're fucking with you. Like it's antisocial. First off, it's saying, here's how most people wear their hat. I don't wear my hat that way. I wear it in a super uncomfortable, unattractive way that does nothing for me, and it shades the side of my neck. It does not keep the sun out of my eyes. It doesn't keep the hair out of my face. I will fuck myself up. It's right up there with I wear my pants somewhere around mid-crack line, like about half ass crack mass, like my balls died and my pants are flying at half crack. Like, first off, you think it's comfortable to wear pants that are around your fucking hips?
How can you even walk like that?
If a fucking car came around a corner, you'd get run over, and I'd be the first one cheering, by the way. Yeah. No, it's not comfortable to wear your hat. I wear ball caps all the time. They're sort of shaped to fit your head, which does kind of have a direction to it. It's
not just sort of.
Yeah, it's not a beach ball. It's got a little shape to it. And the hats and the caps are made. When you pull them sideways, it's kind of like wearing, it's like wearing underpants where you're going to, stick a leg through where the waist would go and put the leg up around your waist. Like, it's fucking uncomfortable. Now, that's uncomfortable. Also, having multiple hoops through your lower lip. I do not believe aids in your eating, lovemaking, your speech and debate class. It does not help you get a job.
Yeah,
it doesn't help you do anything.
Could help with ziplining.
It's a very subtle way and not so subtle way of going, fuck you. I'm uncomfortable. I want you to feel my discomfort. I want you to feel discomfort. This hat, it's an apparel equivalent to you having a booger that's going in and out of your nose as you laugh like a piston, or you having a piece of broccoli on your front tooth. It's fucking me up. And I know, but the broccoli and the booger you're unaware of. The hat you're in charge of. And you know what you're saying. It's antisocial. It's fuck you. And the lip thing, it's forcing me to go, ow, that looks like it hurts. And then I have to do what if that got caught on something? And then I do that, what if you're eating one of those little mini chops, those little lamb chops? It's like appetizer, you get sauté. You get the sauté spear, and it like somehow goes through there, and it pulled away or something. Or
I'd actually managed to never think about that. But now I feel yucky.
Now you're forced to.
Yeah.
Right. This is an antisocial, fuck you, think about me, and this. And there's a million versions of it. There's a million. There's a tattoo version of it. There's a piercing version of it.
There's a hair color version.
I'm going to wear my hat. I'm going to wear my hair. I'm going to take the fucking baffles out of the pipes of my Harley so you can hear me. There's a hear me, look at me, see me, feel me thing. And my thing is, just fuck off.
You've got it locked to HTLA Radio 1, New York.
This program is intended for mature audiences only. If you have any homicidal or suicidal feelings, please consult a doctor before listening to this program.
Well, that's right. You got any homicidal feelings? I don't know. I don't. No. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm quite non-homicidal or suicidal or any kind of sidal, really. Yeah, that's the me thing. 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Yes, it is. And, of course, you're listening to, as the girl said, HTLA Radio 1 New York, which, well, could only mean 3 o'clock HTLA. Well, that's right, gang. It's time for coffee and cigarettes, the Wednesday grinder, with yours truly, Chris Crash Jesus Taylor. And today on the big show, hey, big news. Yeah, we got the news. We got the big news going down, whatever you want to call it there. Yes, your listener favorite, Coffee and Cigarettes, gets picked up by iHeart Radio, as does every single other show that HTLA produces. That's right. Every single one now on iHeartRadio. And, we couldn't be happier. We're on Stitcher and Podcast One and iTunes and, well, iHeart now. And Just gotta love Clear Channel. Next stop, Ryan Seacrest. You watch us roll here. Because, of course, you are listening to HTLA Radio 1 New York, New York's best talk. You can't get it anywhere else without a prescription. It's right there. So are we partying today? Well, no. No, it's business as usual today as we look into the day's stories with some of the best coffee around. So come hang with yours truly, the one, the only Jenny McCartney, Louie Lawless, Kirsty, Alley, and George Takei. It is time to come on in and grab that cup, have a seat, and light one up, ladies and gentlemen. It's coffee time. Yeah, it is coffee time, and I am enjoying, of course, one of Tim Hortons' finest blends, yes. And of course, this show is, of course, brought to you in part by the fine folks at Tim Hortons, New York City. Yes, with 8 locations throughout the city to serve all of your coffee and baked goods needs, and Krispy Kreme, Dunkin' Donuts, just go pound sand. There's nothing like Timmy's. You won't get it better anywhere else. Take it from the Crash Man and get on down there and get some today. I just can't stop guzzling. That's right. So lots of good stuff going on today for this Wednesday, the 18th of February, 2015. 29 degrees right now, Central Park. Damn close to 30. But no luck at 30 yet, but we're still waiting. Partly cloudy and, no snow, it seems, today. That's the word on the street from Joey down on 51st, So what do we got on the show today? Well, we got, as usual, all kinds of things. Yes, we've got the suspect, of course, that's been formally charged in the UVA murder case. Yes. And what would you choose for the Video Game Hall of Fame? That's a toughie. Road rage victim went after her killer. If that makes any sense. No, it doesn't. And is the president of these United States considering a nuclear option in a ports dispute? I don't know. That's what the nuclear option. Really? You're going to go there? And of course, more news on the Kayla Mueller story. Her boyfriend now has his 15 minutes in the fame there. How I fled ISIL and tried to save Kayla. You can bet your bottom dollar, folks. There is definitely a screenplay getting written up here. Also, Jeb Bush. Yes, the young'un. Well, I don't know, the 50-year-old young'un, something like that. He's going to be slamming Obama's indecisive foreign policy. That's what he's going to do. Do you think he's going to run? Also, off deputy duty. Off deputy duty. There we go. Let's off deputy duty. An off-duty deputy pulls a gun on a group in a movie theater. Oh yeah, that's all kinds of joy, isn't it? And the Boston mayor now is freaking out. He is scared, and he's just back away from the wall. The mayor is just he's afraid, and he's very afraid. Yes, and we'll get to that, of course, in the big show as well today. But before we get into all that, of course, we've got a bunch of things we have to do, don't we? First of all, this show is
powered by Procast.
Yes, of course it is. Thank you, Kate. Powered by Procast Global Incorporated, yes. And We've got the one, the only social media goddess, Jenny McCartney, in the booth, pushing the buttons, making the good old show go today, as she does for us every day. So she's in the booth. Might see our way to get into some Russian English lessons here today. Also joining us live via satellite, because he just doesn't like saying that he's on the phone, is, of course, the one, the only Louie Lawless of LDL Films, currently at Mill Bay Studios in beautiful Mill Bay, British Columbia, Canada. Louie, you're live.
You know how to spell my last name on the check, right? It's Louie Lawless.
Yes, sir. I've got that.
Wait a minute, I got lost. HTLA. Oh, HTLA. Hell is that?
Well, don't worry about that, man. You're live on the air right now.
Oh, can we cuss? Can I cuss as I always do on the show?
Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with that. Why the heck not? Also joining us from a top secret, undisclosed location, of course, is the one and only Miss Howe herself, Kirsty Alley. Kirsty, great to have you here, hon.
A lot of the times we are happy with each other because we're together and we are our own support system. So, but right now, I mean, I feel good. I feel great to be here. It does give you a viewpoint of, you should freaking feel good to be here.
Well, there you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
And back over to the other coast again, all the way from his beautiful home in amazing California. Yes, the one, the only George Takei. George. Good to have you here. Good to have you.
I think it's a treat to be here talking with you.
Well, as you say every day, thank you, my friend. Thank you. Give the folks at home a little rundown about George Sulu.
I'm George Takei, and when I'm walking down the street, people shout out, "Hey, Sulu!" So I'm no more as Sulu than as George Takei, which is what I really am.
That's right. You are. And there you are. And a hell of a political activist, too, George. Let them know. Come on, man.
Well, actually, what shaped my life is what happened to all Japanese Americans during the Second World War. Pearl Harbor was bombed, and overnight, American citizens of Japanese ancestry were looked at with suspicion and fear and outright hatred simply because we happened to look like the people that bombed Pearl Harbor,
right.
And we were put in barbed wire American prison camps. They called them internment camps, but they were really, for all rights and purposes, concentration camps.
Yeah.
There were sentry towers with the machine guns pointed at us, and when I made the night runs from the barracks to the latrine, searchlights followed us. But for me, as a 5-year-old at that time, I thought it was kind of nice that the searchlights lit the way for me to pee. So I adjusted. Children are amazingly adaptable, and that became the normality in my life. Lining up 3 times a day to eat a noisy mess hall, complain about the lousy food,
right.
Became routine. And when the war ended, we came back to Los Angeles. Many people did not because they were so embittered by the experience on the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And as I grew up, as a teenager, I started reading civics books and history books, and I saw nothing in that about my childhood experience. But I read the glorious chapters about our democracy. And so I engaged my father in long discussions after dinner, trying to reconcile, our imprisonment during the war and all the ideals that I've been reading about.
Right.
And my father said to me, our democracy is a people's democracy. It can be as great as a people can be, but it's also as fallible as people are. And our democracy is vitally dependent on good people being actively engaged in the process.
Yeah.
And shortly after that, he took me to the Adlai Stevenson for President headquarters, and he volunteered me. And that's how I got introduced to political activism. It was a lot of fun, but by that time I was starting to understand something about our democracy.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty incredible, actually. And I, for one, got to say that's a pretty big deal, and I'm glad you're around, of course, to spread the word. Yes, as it were. And, of course, well, you know what? Yeah, screw it. Why not? I'm sorry. It's just so nice not to have Tom Cruise here anymore. Oh, yeah, you know, yeah.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
Okay, all right.
I want to have monkeys.
That's my girl. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, hey, first story up for bids on today's Little Price is Right is what? Well, the suspect that was formally charged in the University of Virginia murder case. Yeah. Jesse Matthew, a former hospital worker, was formally charged with first-degree murder today in the death of 18-year-old University of Virginia student Hannah Graham. Trial is set for June 29th. Now, Matthew, 33, was being held in Fairfax County, a suburban area of Washington, D.C., about 100 or so miles northeast of Charlottesville, on a separate 2005 sexual assault charge. Yeah, he's a real piece of work, this guy. He appeared at the court hearing in Charlottesville by video. His exact whereabouts was unclear. However, Fairfax County officials said that he was no longer in their custody as of Wednesday morning. This comes to us from WUSA. The Commonwealth's attorney says the 33-year-old Matthew could face 20 years to life in prison if convicted. He's also charged with abduction in the case as well. Graham, who disappeared after a night out with friends in Charlottesville, was last seen on surveillance video leaving a bar with Matthew on September 13th, according to prosecutors. Her body was found about 5 weeks later near the location where the remains of another area college student, Morgan Harrington, 20 years old, were discovered back in January of 2010. Harrington from Virginia Tech disappeared after traveling to Charlottesville in October 2009 for a rock and roll concert. Matthew worked for the University of Virginia Medical Center in Charlottesville as an operating room patient technician for 2 years before his arrest from 2007 to 2010. And he had a taxi license. Now, you see, that's it right there. He's got a taxi license. So, yeah.
It's the worst thing that's ever happened in our lives.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, Kirsty, as far as that goes. I think all of us have individually had things, probably worse happen to us in our lives, whichever way you look at that, and unless, of course, you're talking about the dead people.
I lived in Greenwich Village for a while when I first started as an actor.
That's true. You did, Louie, and it did well for you out there. I know that. Yeah.
Okay, good. We're in pretty good company.
Oh, absolutely, Kirsty. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, you bet. We've got no shortage of joy here in our panel of fine guest co-hosts / whatever you want to call it.
He called me, and he called me. He kept calling me, and I wouldn't answer the phone.
Yeah, and then I had Jenny phone him, and man, did he pick that sucker up. Yeah, there you go. So he, the assailant here, fled the area in September after police began questioning him about the Graham case. Matthew was arrested several days later as he camped on a beach near Galveston, Texas. He was initially charged with the abduction with intent to defile in the Graham case, a felony that under Virginia law compels suspects to submit for DNA testing. And again, this story comes to us from WUSA TV. There you go. Thank you, WUSA, for all your TV wholesome goodness.
You are a douchebag.
I know. It's all right.
Tweet. Now we're on Twitter and we tweet together.
Yes, we do, and you actually respond to my tweets, which is amazing to me. I've never had that before. Well, George does too, but, George responds to any guy with a nice set of pectorals. Yeah. Although, probably not as good as Bobby's, right, George?
What particularly was exciting was he had blonde forearm hair, and he was tan.
There you go.
That's when what caught my eye when I first saw him.
Right.
He had his T-shirt on, but you can see that he had great pectoral T-shirts. And then to see it off, and this whole gorgeous body.
Oh my. Yeah, so how low can we go? There has been speculation, George, of course, about the way you speak and the words you choose. And, of course, that would be attributed to your Shakespeare experience. So tell the fine folks, before we go for a commercial, that way I don't have to hear it when we come back from a commercial while I'm trying to do my segue back into the next segment. How's that? Yeah.
Well, I'm a Shakespeare buff.
Right.
I went to the Shakespeare Institute at Stratford-upon-Avon in England, and Shakespeare loved the language. I mean, he used it gloriously and vividly, colorfully.
Mm-hmm.
And so, being a Shakespeare buff, I enjoy language too. And so I use words that are descriptive, that are specific, and that are that have content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Do we get a yeah? No? You don't know? Yes, she does. Okay. Well, we're going to go for our first 2-minute commercial break. And when we come back, we won't have to hear about George and Shakespeare.
Well, I'm a Shakespeare buff. I went to the...
Yeah, I know. See? We already... See, he's doing it again. He's sneaking it in there. Don't know how he does that, but man.
I think when you see the insanity in things, once I saw the insanity of drugs and really what it was doing to my life, I stopped.
Oh, well, good for you. All right.
Yes!
You betcha. Okay. Yes, and when we come back after the break, what would you choose for the Video Game Hall of Fame? There's an interesting question, and you think on that. We'll be back in 2.
You've got it locked to New York's best talk, HTLA Radio 1.
What if there was a coffee that was sourced from some of the world's most renowned growing regions, abundant with rich, fertile soil? What if this coffee was picked at the perfect moment, then packed meticulously and shipped carefully to be roasted under the watchful eye of coffee masters? What if it was expertly blended, ground, and sealed, ensuring maximum flavor and freshness, then brewed in small batches and always served fresh within 20 minutes, just the way you like it? Now, what if this coffee just happened to be the coffee you already know and love? Tim Hortons. Always fresh. Always great tasting coffee.
White Rum has a new captain. Introducing the all-new Captain Morgan White Rum. 5 times distilled for a smoother taste.
The hot new accessory? Brows that wow. New from Maybelline, New York, it's Brow Drama. Our first sculpting ball brush with tinted gel. Just sweep, then sculpt for bolder, sculpted brows. New Brow Drama. Get the look at Maybelline.com. Maybe it's Maybelline.
In this fast-paced, digital everything life, there's nothing like experiencing the world's finest journalism in its original form. So sign up today for as little as $3.80 a week to receive the greatest newspaper in the world and all the incredible experiences that come with it.
When we arrived at our hotel in New York, the porter was so incredibly careless with our bags. And the room they gave us, it was beautiful. A broom closet. But the worst part was the shower. My wife drying herself with the
Egyptian cotton towels.
Shower curtain defined that whole vacation for her. Don't just visit New York.
Visit TripAdvisor New York.
With millions of reviews, a visit to TripAdvisor makes any destination better.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
You know we are. Oh, yes, you know we are, baby.
Well, I'm a Shakespeare fan.
Don't do it, George. No. I thought we had this discussion, my friend.
You are a douchebag.
Yes, of course I am. That's what it is. That's what it is. Now, Kirsty, I know you're a mom. You probably got something to say on this, maybe, possibly. Who the heck knows? What would you choose for the Video Game Hall of Fame? There is a question. Huh?
These kids they make me better every day. I mean, they really are awesome. I'm the luckiest mother in the world. Seriously.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that. It's good about that. But what about the fun side? Come on.
I think I'm a fun mom most of the time, but I think I really expect a work ethic.
Oh, yes.
So there's no slackers. And it drives me nuts when somebody sleeps in past 11 o'clock.
11, yeah. You're just a slave driver, I got to say. There's no other words for that. You got to have a good work ethic and be out of bed by 11. They wouldn't even make checkout at a hotel. Come on.
About fucking time. Move on.
Yes, thank you, Louie, for getting me back on track here. This story takes us to Rochester, New York, of course. In an acknowledgement of the shift towards technology and toys, a museum has established the World Video Game Hall of Fame, and the first inductions are set for June. Already home to the National Toy Hall of Fame and the International Center for the History of Electronic Games, the Strong National Museum of Play will have more than 4 decades of video game history to sift through. The Babe Ruths of that first class could include everything from Pong, a game that popularized video games, which was back in 1972, up through the 80s with, of course, Atari's Mr. and Miss Pac-Man, I guess, to today's Call of Duty and even Angry Birds, and, of course, the world of Warcraft, says Jeremy Saucier. He's the assistant director of the Electronic Games Center. Nominations for the first group of inductees will be accepted through March 31st based on one or more of the following criteria. Number 1, the game has to be iconic. The game is widely recognized and remembered. That's always a big plus to any Hall of Fame, actually being remembered. Yeah. And number 2, it has to have longevity. The game is more than just a passing fad. Yes, much like, Louis' films.
We're 5 steps away from winning the Academy Award.
And you didn't.
And we didn't.
No, so there you go. Also, geographical reach. The game meets the first 2 criteria, but must also reach across international boundaries. Yeah. And overall influence, the game that has influenced the design and development of other games or other forms of entertainment or popular culture and society. And I'm thinking Daddy Crash's big Unreal Tournament has more than done that. Yes, absolutely.
I've said too much.
No, you haven't. You haven't even started.
And I finally figured out how to edit.
Excellent. That's very, very good, Louie. I'm absolutely thrilled with that. That's good. Well, we've been talking about it for some time now, Saucier said. It really is something that we believe we're well positioned to do at the moment, given we already have the National Toy Hall of Fame and the International Center for the History of Electronic Games. And we're already dedicated to the history and preservation of video games. It seems like a natural outgrowth from our other activities. The nomination process for the World Video Game Hall of Fame is open to anyone through worldvideogamehalloffame.org. Man, don't say that 3 times fast. Yeah, an advisory committee will select the finalist with an international committee of journalists, scholars, and game geeks familiar with the industry approving the inductees. Now I'm sure we're going to see like the Academy Awards or the Golden Globes or something for video games.
Always with a female and having a relationship, married or single, it's always better that they do the leaving. If you do the leaving, it keeps that lingering thing. You know what I mean?
I do, Louie. But video games, my friend. We're talking about video games.
Use power. That's why power is corrupt, and it is. We see it every day. We see it in every job. It's the same thing.
Yes. What he just said. The museum's Electronic Games Center already features more than 55,000 video games, artifacts, personal papers, and corporate records tracing the growth of video games. The International Video Game Hall of Fame and Museum in Ottumwa, Iowa, inducted 29 designers and competitive gamers into its class of 2010, but then had financial troubles and has not continued plans for more inductees, or indeed even a permanent building. We have the world's largest and most comprehensive public collection of electronic games and related materials, Saucer said. Game consoles such as the Atari 2600 and the Nintendo Game Boy are already in the Toy Hall of Fame, but no actual games have been inducted. The Video Game Hall of Fame will be displayed in the 5,000-square-foot eGames Revolution exhibit on the second floor of the Play Museum. It will also share space with a separate partnership announced earlier this month between the Strong and the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences. Yeah, we'll be creating an exhibit based on the games that they recognize and the individuals they recognize with their Pioneer Awards, Saucer said. So there you go, the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences. Yeah, does that sound familiar? I think so, yeah. So there you go. That's the Video Game Hall of Fame news. I don't know why that's our second story of the day, but hey, it is. You know, what am I going to do? And of course, the Video Game Hall of Fame has to go before the president considering the nuclear option. Yeah, I know everybody's just deathly quiet now. What the heck is that all about? Well, that's a very good question. I'm glad you asked. Well, it seems that the president is considering a nuclear option in a ports dispute. Yeah. In San Francisco, Labor Secretary Thomas Perez is meeting today with both sides in a 4-month labor dispute on the West Coast ports that has disrupted shipments and is costing American businesses hundreds of millions of dollars. Perez flew to San Francisco on Monday and spent Tuesday and Wednesday meeting with leaders from the International Longshore and Warehouse Union and the Pacific Maritime Association. On behalf of President Obama, Secretary Perez made it clear that the dispute has led to very negative impact on the U.S. economy, and further delay risks tens of thousands of jobs and will cost American businesses hundreds of millions of dollars, the Department of Labor said in a release today. It is unclear what exactly Perez can do as the federal mediators who've been involved in the negotiations haven't, of course, been able to do over the past several months. It could be a message from the White House that the threat of a Taft-Hartley is looming, said Mark Sentinel, the editor at the Journal of Commerce, who has been following the issue closely. Taft-Hartley refers to what some call the nuclear option in labor relations. Officially, the Labor Management Relations Act of 1947 allows presidents to get involved in labor disputes. However, there would have to be either a strike or a lockout for Obama to invoke it. The longshoremen were involved the last time Taft-Hartley was used, when President George W. Bush forced West Coast ports to open back in 2002. In that instance, port employers locked port workers out for 10 days due to what they called a union slowdown. Perez stressed that it is impressive for both sides to come to an immediate agreement to prevent further damage to our economy and further pain for American workers and their employers, says the Labor Department's statement. The dispute between the 20,000 longshoremen who work the West Coast 29 ports and the port owners. The dock workers' contract expired June 30th, and both sides have been in negotiations ever since. The exact sticking points are unclear, as all negotiation takes place, of course, behind closed doors. However, a current issue is a demand by the ILWU that it be allowed the right to fire arbitrators. Under current rules, neutral arbitrators preside over labor disputes between workers in the Pacific Maritime Association, which represents the port operators. The ILWU is essentially seeking the right to fire judges who rule against them, says PMA spokesman Wade Gates. Labor issues are having a major impact on both imports and exports. Nothing is moving out of the ports because the cargo ships are waiting in line, said Wendy Weber, communications director at the Western Growers, which represents West Coast produce growers and packers. In Los Angeles and Long Beach Tuesday, she saw at least 30 ships waiting offshore as she drove along a Pacific Coast highway just south of the ports. Because growers can't get their product out, overseas buyers are looking to other sources, and that's not good. National Retail Federation Vice President Jonathan Gold welcomed the administration's attention to the port issue. He said he hoped if it recommits to the two sides reaching a deal, the slowdowns, congestion, and suspensions at the West Coast ports, well, they just need to end now. There you go. So the old president there with his nuclear option. Yeah. Where do they come up with this stuff?
You are a douchebag.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that. Well, gang, we're coming up just a few minutes away from our next commercial break. So before I do that, let's throw in a little road rage. That's always fun. A twist in the case of the Las Vegas mom killed in an apparent road rage shooting. Police now say that Tammy Myers, who got into an altercation with a male driver while teaching her daughter to drive, dropped her off at their home and grabbed her 22-year-old son, who was armed, and went looking for the man. This comes to us from NBC. Myers and son Brandon believed they had found his car, followed it, and then apparently decided to return home 10 minutes later after they'd left. As they arrived, the gray-silver four-door sedan matching the description of the car they'd followed pulled up and started shooting, hitting Tammy Myers in the head as her son returned fire. Everyone can think what they have to think, says Brandon Myers. I did what I had to do to protect my family, and I'd do it for anyone I love. Myers died 2 days later, and no arrests have been made. Police say Myers was initially behind the wheel Thursday night when a car sped up behind them, and Myers' daughter honked the horn. She figured that this person was speeding and that they needed to be corrected. Oh, I'm going to correct you. Beep, beep. That's right. You tell him, honey. You beep him out. Just take that, you. Yes, they had to be corrected. A police rep says the driver of that car, described as a 6-foot-tall white male, about 25 with dirty blonde hair, worn in a spiked style, stopped in front of Myers' car and confronted the pair before Myers drove away, scared and upset, police say. Myers' husband, Robert, says his wife hated bullies, and my son is a hero in my book. He adds, there were mistakes like every one of us has made in our lives, but this particular mistake was made to keep a bigger mistake from happening, and my wife paid the ultimate price for it. Yes. Another mother was killed in a road rage shooting in October, too. Apparently, that's the word on the street.
Bullshitters, never keep your mouth shut, always hustling, always looking for something to do and putting things together. That's a American. Look how they took the country away from England.
Well, and there you go. See, right there, and that should tell you. That should learn you all. Don't be taking no guff. You correct them with your horn. And we'll be back in 2 minutes after this commercial break.
You've got it locked to New York's best talk, HTLA Radio 1.
White Rum has a new captain. Introducing the all-new Captain Morgan White Rum. 5 times distilled for a smoother taste.
The hot new accessory? Brows that wow. New from Maybelline, New York, it's Brow Drama, our first sculpting ball brush with tinted gel. Just sweep, then sculpt for bolder, sculpted brows. New Brow Drama. Get the look at Maybelline.com.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Good morning. Welcome to Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop, where fresh always tastes better. What can I make you this morning?
How about our new flatbread breakfast paninis? Made fresh, just for you, with your favorite breakfast ingredients on maple or multigrain flatbread, then grilled to hot, melted perfection. Just $2.99. Who couldn't warm up to that?
Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop, where quality really does meet value.
In this fast-paced, digital everything life, there's nothing like experiencing the world's finest journalism in its original form. So sign up today for as little as $3.80 a week to receive the greatest newspaper in the world and all the incredible experiences that come with it.
When we arrived at our hotel in New York, the porter was so incredibly careless with our bags. And the room they gave us, it was
beautiful.
A broom closet.
But the
worst part was the shower. My wife drying herself with the
Egyptian cotton towels.
Shower curtain defined that whole vacation for her. Don't just visit New York.
Visit TripAdvisor New York.
With millions of reviews, a visit to TripAdvisor makes any destination better.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
Well, you know we are. Yes, we are. New York's best talk, baby. HTLA Radio 1, New York City, 3:38 in the afternoon right now. 29 degrees, Central Park still. We haven't broke that 30 mark. And we're, well, what are we doing? We're dealing with partly cloudy. But hey, at least the dog walking's still going on.
Well,
he needs love, Chris. Come on, you gotta dispense more love from yourself. All these people are hurting here.
That's right. I'm going to dispense with the love, Louie. Yeah.
You know why, Chris? Because you're such a control freak. You don't want anyone to tell you what to do.
Really? Is that? Yeah, you think so, huh?
No, no, I don't.
Well, there we go. We're back on the old show. We're rocking it out here on the on the New York Best Talk. And Kirsty, I know you've got a bunch of houses around somewhere. That's why we never know where you are. You don't tell us.
I have a house in Florida. The only thing I've ever spent my money on is real estate.
Right. That's right. So you've got some big bucks and no whammies. Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. All right.
About fucking time. Move on.
All right, Louie. I know. Everybody needs love, and I'm a control freak. Hey, you know, I heard you had some trouble in the local movie theater there. You got thrown out or something?
I nearly got kicked out of the theater. I can't remember what I saw about 2 weeks ago because I was booing and screaming.
Well, you know, that booing and screaming will get you every time.
I've said too much.
I know. I know. Well, welcome back to Coffee and Cigarettes for this, our final segment today. And what do we got for it? Well, we got all kinds of stuff for it. The question is, of course, what will I pick? Yes. Well, how about the Boston mayor living in fear? Yes, he is. He's just so afraid. And of what, you may ask? Well, if I had to take a flying guess at this, I'd say he's afraid of a lawsuit. Yes, he says, think before you jump or don't jump at all. That's the message that Boston Mayor Marty Walsh told snowbound Bostonians at a press conference yesterday. Apparently, some of the city's, well, morons, thrill-seeking morons, I guess is a better qualification of that. Of course, sponsored by GoPro cameras. They're taking to social media now with videos of them jumping out windows into massive snowdrifts. And you know we can all trust Twitter as a credible news source. Well, at least more than Brian Williams, yeah.
Yes!
He says, I'm asking people to stop their nonsense right now. These are adults jumping out windows. It's a foolish thing to do, and you could kill yourself, Walsh said, according to a video of his remarks from the Boston Herald. Boston has, of course, been pummeled by an accumulated total of 8 feet of snow so far this winter, and February is already the city's snowiest month ever on record. Well, the mayor says this isn't Loon Mountain and the city of Boston, where we're trying to remove snow off the street and it becomes very dangerous. And the last thing we want to do is respond to an emergency call where somebody has jumped out of a window because they thought it was a funny thing to do, Walsh said. There you go. So you take that to the bank, you people out there in Boston. You quit jumping out windows. Yeah.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
Louie, hey, I'm trying to spread the love here, man.
He needs love, Chris. Come on.
Well, I know.
You got to dispense more love from yourself. All these people are hurting here.
Well, I will dispense the love.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. Wait, I'm married. Never mind. There you go. Not a jackass. Moving on in our stories today. Well, y'all know the story of Kayla Mueller. We've been covering it since it broke there a couple of months ago on Coffee and Cigarettes. And, you kind of know sort of about the boyfriend now. We told you about him yesterday, and George got a little excited.
Oh, my.
Yes, he likes this hero boyfriend. Well, now the hero boyfriend is getting his 15 seconds of fame. In a new story, how I fled ISIL and tried to save. I tried to save Kayla. Yes.
You are a douchebag.
Yes, I know. But hey, it's all good because did you know Kirstie Alley has monkeys?
I don't know. It was my life dream to be an actress and have monkeys.
See?
I want to have monkeys.
She lives for monkeys.
Oh, I have a bajillion animals, and I have animal wranglers. You know, you have to have people working for you to take care of the animals.
Well, of course. Absolutely. And you're creating jobs, Kirstie, which I admire.
I've said too much.
That's okay. We'll move on now. Yes, so he's apparently a hero. He's battled ISIL and won and fought for Kayla and lost. Well, the boyfriend, of course, that we're talking about is Omar Al-Khani. Yes, the evil Omar Al-Khani. Or the not-so-evil, however you want to look at it. He was held prisoner by the Islamic extremist for a second time. Decided to take yet another gamble. Yes, he's just a risk-taker, this guy. I can see Bruce Willis is going to play this guy. That's what it is. After being captured once with his American girlfriend, Kayla Mueller, then being released and captured again, I guess because it's fun, he made another bid for freedom, he says. He says he asked Emir, a leader in the group running the prison in Syria, to let him go. He was a civilian. He says he argued, not like free Syrian army fighters who were cellmates. That's so damn heroic. Hey, let me out of here. I'm not like these other Syrians. I'm a special kind of Syrian. Well, to his surprise, the Emir released him. Duh. Wow, these ISIL terrorists are somehow not so scary when you as a captor can say, hey, instead of beheading me on YouTube Live tomorrow night, just let me go, and I don't belong here, right? Right. Just let me go. And of course, the terrorist did. Yes, Al-Khani, 33 years, says, but with a caveat. The captors kept his passport and identification card, warning him to return in several days for a final judgment. See, they're holding him. They're holding him to that YouTube beheading contract. Okay, well, this is the deal. We have 4 million followers on YouTube, so if we let you go, that number will go down. But we will let you go for a couple of days. Have fun in the city, and come back and we'll behead you. Yeah, that's pretty much the deal. Well, to his surprise, after being released, he ran. A fellow captain. Yeah, there's a hero for you right there, ladies and gentlemen. Did you ever see Bruce Willis run? No. No, he didn't. He didn't run. No. He came up with cool sayings and killed them all. Yippee-ki-yay. There we go. So he ran away. A fellow captive who had already been freed helped whisk him out of Syria, he says. Oh, so you didn't even do that yourself. You had help. Oh. Well, he contacted Mueller's parents in Prescott, and then he lived self-imposed silence about her captivity for more than a year because he was such a hero. Oh, I mean, because he says he and Mueller's parents believed speaking publicly about her would put her in greater danger. Yes. No. Well, that caution ended last week after Mueller's name emerged as a hostage of the Islamic State, known as ISIL or ISIS. Just throw them together, or whatever you feel. It's ISIS today. Yeah.
You are a douchebag.
I know, and I'm okay with that. Well, the 26-year-old was confirmed dead. It soon became clear that Al-Khani had been her traveling companion back in August 2013 when she was snatched from the street in Aleppo, Syria, just a day after traveling to the country with him. See, he's not a hero. It's his fault. If he'd taken her to, I don't know, Dubai or something, she'd be fine.
Bullshitters, never keep your mouth shut, always hustling, always looking for something to do and putting things together. That's American. Look how they took the country away from England.
Yes, and with more news on that, you can tune into another show where Louie will talk about that at great length. But on this show, Al-Khani's silence about Mueller was broken by a barrage of questions and requests for interviews to tell his story. Yes, the hero's journey, as it were, not. Yes, the story of skepticism from friends and critics alike. Why didn't he say more about Mueller after his first captivity, they ask? How did he end up with her inside Syria at all? Yeah. That's.
I think when you see the insanity in things, once I saw the insanity of drugs and really what it was doing to my life, I stopped.
Yeah, it is, after all, the insanity of drugs, I got to tell you, absolutely.
I want to have monkeys.
Well, you go ahead and do that. All right, I'm not going to go against you. You have your monkeys. Al-Khani, a photojournalist and activist, not the smartest tool in the shed, though, provided a fuller picture of his work in Syria, his relationship with Mueller, and his efforts to spring her from prison in an interview with the Arizona Republic on Tuesday. As he tells his story under increasing public pressure, Al-Khani said he feels the need to defend his actions. Well, yes, you spineless jellyfish. Yeah, I would say that...
it's the worst thing that's ever happened in our lives.
Could be, yeah. Speaking with the Republic via Skype from a Turkish border town, Al-Khani, who says his name is a pseudonym to protect his identity in the war zone, talked about his time in captivity and his relationship with Mueller. The activist and aid worker had searched for opportunities to help in the region where she and Al-Khani lived in Turkey. A British news report suggests U.S. intelligence officials discounted information that may have allowed them to liberate hostages. Though much of his account can't be corroborated, he acknowledged that some people, have some very specific questions about his actions, and he offered to explain his travels with Mueller. But there is at least one line of inquiry Al-Khani won't discuss. He refused to answer questions about the whether he shared information about Mueller with U.S. officials and how many times he met with them, if at all, insisting that discussing the matter could put him at risk. Yes. After leaving Syrian captivity for the second time, Al-Khani said he continued his work documenting the lives of Syrians by returning to the country every few weeks. He turned his eye to the lives of everyday people trying to survive in Syria and away from the fighters he documented previously. He said the photos of children playing and people hauling coal showed what civilians were going through during the Civil War and who would remain after the fighting is done. Well, that's nice. You know, I would have grabbed an AK, a couple of grenades, maybe hit up my local U.S. Marine military base out there, gave them the lowdown, the skinny, as it were, give them all the information that I had, and then go kick some ass. That's right. See, and then you might say, oh, I don't know, something like hero, hero. But no, don't use that word here, please. I don't.
He needs love, Chris. Come on.
I know.
You gotta dispense more love from yourself. All these people are hurting here.
I'll give you some love, buddy. Well, she asked Alkani to take her on every trip, he said. So in August 2013, he agreed. Alkani said if he hadn't brought Mueller, he worried she would eventually find someone else. Oh, he's jealous.
You are a douchebag.
I am not, George. I'm just telling you the facts, man, and they don't sound too good for this guy. Alkani said, yes, it's not Mission Impossible. No, sir, you're correct. It is definitely not Mission Impossible. No. Yes. Alkani planned to visit Aleppo to fix the internet connection at a Doctors Without Borders hospital. Well, see, and that's the true mark of a hero, ladies and gentlemen. Priorities. All right, you got your girlfriend in Syria. She's being held captive. These suckers are going to probably cut her head off because, the guy who released you said he wanted you back in a few days for ratings. And you just went on clicking pictures of people hauling coal. I bet you got a book coming out. Probably a picture book. Tom Cruise would like that. It's going to be a picture book of all the suffering as your girlfriend gets beheaded, you coward.
You are a douchebag.
Oh, Lou, jeez. No, I'm not. I'm saying how it is, damn it. Well, Al-Kahani has said that he read critics on Facebook and blogs questioning how he had the technical knowledge to make such repairs to an internet connection, since he is a photographer. But Al-Kahani said many people in Syria, especially journalists, have taught themselves through YouTube and website. It's YouTube, man. They're involved. They've got the thing going on here. Yes, he looked through YouTube and websites to learn how to repair internet connections. After the Civil War began, online connections were often broken, and journalist work sometimes depended on their technology skills. A couple rehearsed a safety, or the couple, yes, him and her, rehearsed a safety plan, according to Al-Kahani's comments to the Daily Mail in London. She would not speak in the taxi on the way there for fear of alerting others that she was a foreigner. Yes, because they're not going to be able to spot the white chick. No, in Syria, it never happened. No. Oh, my God. Yeah, so they had a safety plan. She wouldn't speak in the taxi for fear that someone might identify her as being a white chick from the mid-U.S. Masked men with rifles forced the passengers into the van covered Al-Kahani's face. Soon they were separated at a makeshift prison where Al-Kahani was beaten and interrogated. He said he signaled to Mueller with coughing when he was led by her cell. Oh, well, the man's amazingly skilled and talented. He's a, wow, MI6, look out, you've got a new recruit here. Soon after, he went back to Syria. He sought to find the militants holding her. Well, that's nice. What was that, 3 or 4 months later? The danger was not as high as it is now. ISIL was not in control of such large parts of the country, and they had not yet begun beheading Western hostages. However, friends have told the Republic the risk was still high enough that many journalists had stopped going to the country. Ooh, can you say hint, hint? Huh? Al-Kahani said he began asking friends in the Free Syrian Army for contacts he could complain to about his imprisonment and beatings, and asked for Mueller, whom he claimed was his wife, to be returned. Well, they told Al-Kahani he could make a complaint to a local Islamic State official who would take the matter to a high Islamic judge. He doesn't remember their names, saying that ISIL members take their names that are generic, he said, like Yusuf Malturki, yes. That's the little one I made up. It's so much fun making up this terrorist stuff. It is. The ISIL official told Al-Khani to return after a few weeks to Idlib, a few hours from Aleppo. From there, ISIL drove Al-Khani to a prison in Aleppo where the high judge was waiting on Mueller's cell on the first floor. He doesn't remember seeing other female prisoners, but said he can't be sure that he was so focused on the matter at hand. Mueller was dressed head to toe in a black abaya robe. Al-Khani has said he told the Republic he could recognize her voice and that the officials allowed her to briefly uncover her face to confirm her identity. From what he could see, Mueller appeared slightly slimmer to him, but he said she seemed to be healthy and unhurt. Mueller wrote a letter to her parents in prison stating she had been treated well and even put on some weight. A European hostage who met Mueller and female prisoners from Doctors Without Borders while in captivity told the New York Times that the men were tortured, but the women were treated fairly well, and to his understanding were not sexually assaulted. Yeah, and you know what? That's great. That's great and everything, but come on. We're telling this nice little fairy tale here. Oh, this is a nice little story. Oh, he's a hero. Oh, this is great. Oh, yeah, let's not go over and nuke them from the planet. Yeah. No. Well, I'm going to say it. Let's go and spread a little crash love. Yeah.
He needs love, Chris. Come on.
Well, I know.
You got to dispense more love from yourself. All these people are hurting here.
Oh, I'm going to dispense the love, boy. Well, you know, hats off to Al-Khani. What a hero. What a true, amazing. What a man. What a piece of really. Well, there you go. That's what we got. And that is the show for today. I want to thank Louie, the one, the only Louie Lawless, for coming on down.
Mr. T would be proud of you.
Yes, I know he would.
You know why, Chris? Because you're such a control freak, you don't want anyone to tell you what to do.
Really? Is that? Yeah? You think so, huh?
No, I don't.
Oh. Also, the one, the only Kirsty Ellie, thanks for being here today, hon. It was great having you back here, and well, what else can I say, hon? Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. And of course, George Takei, thank you, my man, for being here and spreading a little of the George Star Trek love.
I've enjoyed it thoroughly. It has been a fantastic experience.
Well, there you go. It's a fantastic experience on Coffee and Cigarettes. And once again, thank you very much to iHeart Radio for throwing every single show that HTLA Radio 1 New York has to offer out there for another 247 million listeners monthly. Yeah, that's pretty cool. We'll get some huge numbers coming in now, baby. Also a reminder, hit HTLARadio1.com. Yeah, hit that website. It'll hit you back. And, it will, George. You've been there, you know. And don't forget, tonight is Film Wednesday, gang. We've got a huge Real Talk coming up at 8 p.m. Eastern. The one and only Kate Taylor laying it down for you there on Real Talk. And yours truly with another fine edition of Film 101, Production Defined, at 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you then. And if not, we'll definitely see you tomorrow for another edition of Coffee and Cigarettes, the Thursday show, coming at you live 3 p.m. Eastern. Have a good day.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.